The new executive series would not be possible without the tremendous support of our sponsors. Thank you to all of our sponsors who have continuously supported the LVEDC mission during this time. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Lehigh Valley Health Network. Our premier sponsor, Capital Blue Cross. Gold sponsor, Fitzpatrick Lenson Buba. Our event sponsors, Boyle Construction, Clunk & Milan Advertising, and Olympus Corporation of the Americas. Thank you to our interview sponsor, Victaulic, our production sponsor, Countess Communications, and our hosts throughout the Lehigh Valley. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. We hope you enjoy the new executive series.
On behalf of Capital Blue Cross, I would like to welcome you to the LVEDC Executive Interview Series. As a proud member of the Lehigh Valley business community, Capital Blue Cross recognizes the importance of economic development and the critical role that business leaders play in the growth and development of our region. That's why we decided to sponsor this important series, so you can hear the visions and plans that keep our valley on the cutting edge directly from these key leaders. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello, I'm Don Cunningham, President and CEO of the Lehigh Valley Economic Development Corporation. Welcome to another episode of our interview series with new executives in the Lehigh Valley. We're very excited today that we have Gunnar Brunius from Mack Trucks. Gunnar, thank you very much for joining us. You have a fascinating background. I want to take a moment just to give the folks your background, which has landed you here in the Lehigh Valley, running the Mack Trucks division here of Lehigh Valley. Gunnar was named Vice President and General Manager of Mack Trucks, Lehigh Valley Operations in October of 2020. He is a native of Sweden and has had a 40-year career in automotive manufacturing, starting with Saab Automobile back in 1981. He worked for Saab in engineering, labor relations, and manufacturing, responsible for a large workforce there as he is now. He became executive director of manufacturing for GM in Poland. During his time in Poland, he established a worldwide benchmark for efficiency. He joined Volvo Aero in 2011 as general manager of engine products. After Volvo Aero was acquired, he moved on to Volvo Trucks, a sister company of Mack, in 2015, where he was vice president of 2V Vehicles Assembly in Sweden. He is married with 2 grown children and recent transplant to the United States, and we're glad to have you here, and thank you for joining us for this interview series.
Thank you so much, Don, for having me, and I'm really pleased to be invited as well, and happy to be in US as well.
Thanks. Well, for the people of the Lehigh Valley, Mack Trucks, for the world, Mack Trucks is an iconic product. But for the people of the Lehigh Valley, we have such an affinity and affection for Mack Trucks because of the heritage and the history here, that people are very proud of it and very interested in it. So we were really excited to have a chance to sit down with you today to talk to you about your background and your thoughts about Mack Trucks, its future. But before we get to Mack Trucks, we want to talk a little bit about you. You bring a really unique and fresh perspective as a new business leader in the Lehigh Valley, coming here from Sweden and just relocating with your wife. I know you have grown children and grandchildren back home in Sweden. It's had to probably be a little bit of a tough time during the last year. But how has the transition gone in coming to the U.S. Right before a pandemic?
Yeah, it was quite a challenge actually to first get in and get the visas going as well, you know, back in Sweden in this pandemic as well. And then eventually, when everything was sorted, we traveled over. I and my wife, we went here and showed up at the end of September in the middle of the pandemic and also in the middle of the election. So it was a very interesting period in time, I must say, and a lot of good learning for me as well. But other than that, very excited to be here. And I think being in US, for me, it's even though I've been traveling around and been around as well in US in my previous business life as well with Volvo Aero, with a lot of business trips in US, working together with Pratt & Whitney, General Electric, etc. I think now coming in here into Lehigh Valley, and also then I would say taking care of, and also then hopefully developing, continue to developing also the Mack brand, and as you're saying, that this iconic brand. I mean, it has a legacy to really take care of, and that's something I think everyone in the valley should be very proud of.
And they really are, and I've noticed in my years associating with folks at Mack, there is just a pride in working there. Can you talk a little bit about what brought you to Mack Trucks and what was attractive about taking this assignment here in the United States?
I think there are two things actually, and one thing is that getting the opportunity to actually live in the US for a couple of years and also experience from the inside.
Right.
As US is an important part of the Western world, I think, and then on top of that also then getting the opportunity to lead one of the big iconic brands in the US, which Mack really is. I think that was really something that was pulling in me.
And one of the things we've talked about a lot at the Economic Development Corporation is how relevant Mack Trucks still is in the Lehigh Valley. Every truck in North America comes through the Mack facility, and recently that's been a growth area. You've been working to expand the Mack Truck plant in the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, and as you say, then all the heavy-duty trucks are coming through the Lehigh Valley, and as you are into as well, we have spent a lot of investment as well in the plant over the last, I would say, 5 years. It's like $84 million or in that neighborhood as well. So good money.
84 million.
Yeah, so
that's a lot of investment and commitment to the region. On
definitely, and we are not planning to stop either. So we will continue to invest in the plant as well going forward over the next. Even though we have not any specific numbers right now, we are planning to continue to expand and invest in the plant as well over the next coming 5 years.
And Mack Trucks has long been an investor with both the talent of its employees and its money in the community of Lehigh Valley, in philanthropy and engagement. I know with economic strategies for the region, you've been very involved. It seems to be part of the culture there to be involved in the community.
Yeah, I hope we can continue that as well, because we really want to be relevant in the valley as well, as we have been here for over 100 years, and I think it has changed over the last 20 years. That is at least what I hear when I'm talking to people in the valley as well, that Mack has had a tendency to fade out a bit as being the most relevant, I would say, brand in the valley, and that's something I would like to revitalize as well and work on, so that we are becoming strong and also relevant employer in the valley.
Well, I would go as far as to say, although we have some iconic brands that are made in the Lehigh Valley, Mack is at the top of the list in an area where manufacturing remains the second largest part of our economy, growing with 34,000 workers. I know employment fluctuates depending on market demand at Mack, but roughly how many folks are employed in the Lehigh Valley at Mack?
For the time being, it's like 2,500, so it's quite significant.
Can you talk a little bit about the type of trucks that Mack produces? It was something early in my time at LVEDC and visiting the plant. I learned the different brands of trucks. When we talk about Mack Trucks, what type of vehicles are we talking about?
What people normally see when talking about Mack Trucks, I think, is our old iconic trucks, also the ones that are taking care of all the waste that we are returning back, preferable also to reuse, but and I think that is what a lot of people see. And then also, of course, if you look at construction work, is also very typical what you see when you look at Mack Trucks. A lot of axles, and then also taking care of heavy loads and concrete pumpers and blenders as well for concrete. So being in that.
So a lot of specialty construction, heavy-duty trucks are really the Mack brand.
Yes, and also being relevant for the customers as well. So we are having big years when we are listening to our customers about their specific needs. What do they specifically want from their specific truck that they are ordering? And we are paying a lot of attention and effort into really meet our customers' needs and being specific to that as well.
Now, Mack has recently been experimenting or getting into some other lines of trucks. Looking, is that not true? Maybe some electric vehicles and
Very true.
over-the-road
Oh,
trucks. Yes.
Yeah, very true. And electric trucks. So we are so in the phase now of pre-production now of electric trucks for the cab over models, and we are going to kick off the production later during this year. So we are pre-producing right now with a very good result. So I must say I'm very excited about that as well.
So when you hear electric Mack truck,
Yeah.
maybe sounds a little counterintuitive. Like, okay, how do you do a heavy-duty truck electric?
Yeah.
But you're developing the technology in partnership with some other producers.
Yeah, we are
and-
doing the most of it inside the company actually, but we are also using other places as well. So we're teaming up with others as well when needed. But the vast majority of development when it comes to electric trucks in the future is done in-house, but of course with other players.
So the pre-production, the electric trucks will take place in Lehigh Valley?
Yes, that's the ambitions going forward as
Okay.
well. And you know,
Yeah.
the transformation over to, if you look at the world and also in US, of course, everyone is looking for CO2 and neutral or zero CO2 trucks as well, and vehicles in general. So of course we are onto that journey as well, and we are not planning to falling behind, if I may.
So looking out, in addition to emergence of electric Mack trucks, you look out 3 to 5 years for the sector and what you see. Are you predicted to be good, strong times, or some challenges in the market?
I think
going
there will be
forward?
challenges. There are also
Yeah.
lots, you know, if you look at the truck market in general, there are the curiosity about the electric trucks in general. If you look at the total market, not at least in US, there are a lot of customers paying interest into electric truck and what we can see in the future as well. And of course, when you are starting that journey, a lot of people are interested, and then we're starting to, of course, the developing trucks, and how then the market is developing is, of course, also then related to and leaning on how well we also can develop the infrastructure for also charging trucks over time as well. So that is a very important piece of that as well. So we are into the transition, and we are watching, and we are also there, and we are planning to be in that game and not falling behind as well. So that is very, very clear as well.
Yeah, that's exciting, and I know just within the last few years, Mack introduced a new brand of truck, the over-the-road kind of long-haul cab truck. Is that correct?
I mean the sleepers,
The sleepers, and the ones that we always get complaints about in terms of it being on the road.
Yeah, I
even
know
though,
what I mean. Yeah, I know what I mean. Yes,
Not the Mack trucks, the other
no,
one.
not the Mack trucks.
Yeah.
You know, the other trucks I have maybe have some thoughts about, but when I see a Mack truck on the roads, even when a person is sitting in a queue, I'm always Mack.
Yeah, well, it's a huge market because of driven a lot by the evolution of retail into e-commerce and the movement of goods, and the Lehigh Valley has emerged on the East Coast as such a center of fulfillment and e-commerce that production of trucks has obviously expanded. So it's a good time for the trucking industry, at least in over the road, right? So the base Mack trucks, however, are tied a lot more to the construction market, right? So there needs to be a robust and growing economy for production to demand to keep increasing, right? And
very true.
yeah, and that looks good,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So one thing that we've always said is that I think we're real proud of in the Lehigh Valley is that all the Mack trucks that are produced in North America come through the Lehigh Valley, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
for us belonging to Mack, that is important, and I think that's a part of our legacy as well. So very true.
Yeah. Now, talk a little bit about the logistics of all the parts going in, because the Mack Trucks plant here in the Lehigh Valley is an assembly plant.
Yeah.
So you're taking component parts from suppliers and producers. Some of them you have partnerships with. We've worked and encouraged some of them to be closer to the facility, but that's got to be a very challenging job to make sure all those parts are showing up, that you're ready to go.
Yeah, very true. And you know, we are buying parts all over the world today as well. And so now also with this growing and expanding market, the truck market as well, together with other markets as well. Of course, the ability to get parts on time and to the right volume is very tough right now, but it's sort of a good problem to have. I mean, the demand is out there, the customers would like to have the trucks, and we are fighting together with everyone in our supply chain now to get the parts in and get the trucks out through the door as well.
And I think we've read and heard a lot in the business press about shortage of microchips.
Yeah,
right.
Very true.
Does that remain an issue, at least in the short term?
It does actually, and I was. If you would have asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have said now I'm starting to see some light in the tunnel. It's easing up a bit, and now just a couple of days ago, I was also then looking into what's happening in Asia and in that end of the world where we are getting a lot of electronics from as well. And we can see now they have had outbreaks outbreaks from COVID again, and they are shutting down plants again. So we don't see any effects of that right now, but it's of course a concern if they cannot get the COVID under control as well. What will really happen with the supply chain later on in a couple of months or in the autumn as well?
And it really appears that the pandemic, the worldwide pandemic, has really tuned people into the supply chain process and how there are such limited producers of certain key products, and that the transportation lines are very long for that. And we're seeing a lot of activity right now in the life sciences sector around pharmaceuticals and medical device, medical production. Do you see some hope for growth in the American manufacturing market coming out of the pandemic? I mean, what are your views about where you see American manufacturing?
I do actually, because that's what I hear as well, just as you are saying as well, that a lot of OEMs, they are now suffering from long lead times, or buying things way outside the US and in other regions and etc. as well. And a lot of people now is talking about, okay, what are we doing? Should we move more production into US again? And I think we will see movements in this direction actually as a result of what we are suffering from right now. Yes.
Yeah. Now, and it seems that probably the most critical issue for all manufacturers is talent. Available employees with the available skills.
Yes.
I know Mack does a lot of in-house training for its workforce with the UAW.
Very true.
What has been the most recent experience in availability of workers and skill availability that you're finding here in this market or any of your other Mack Truck markets?
Now, right now, I would say that if you look at the labor market in general, it's very, very tough as the unemployment is very, very low, and everyone is screaming now for labor and people, and of course that is a concern for us as well, especially now when we are now heading towards a ramp up, and in a few days now you will see also that we are advertising for more people and we want them into the plants. And so that is critical, I would say, and from that perspective as well, of course it's important that we are also then, I would say, sticking out as a relevant employer in the region.
Yeah, well, what are, at the Mack facility with about 2,500 workers here, what are the type of skill sets or occupations or degrees, a variety of them? Is there a research and development arm? Do you have engineers in there, or is it more frontline plant assembly work?
Of course, the vast majority is of course related to assembly, but we are also having a big needs of good engineers as well. We are not we are doing some development, truck development as well, just based on the specific customer needs. So we have a group of people working with the design work as well. And then we have a lot of engineers, of course, setting up our assembly processes. You know, we have model changes every year or every quarter, and they have to, the changes have to be brought into the plant as well in a good way with a high level of quality as well, so we can get the machinery going. So we are, I would say, covering the most of the different skill sets as well.
And I've had the good fortune to be in the plant numerous times, and it's amazing to me how clean it is.
Yes.
It is, you could eat your lunch right in there. I mean, everything is just shiny and clean and very, very well engineered and very well organized, right? Now, is there still a test track for customers to drive the trucks in South Allentown if they're purchasing?
Yeah, we have our Mack Experience Center where we're trying to bring our customers as well and give them an opportunity to drive the trucks on the test track as well, and that's an area we would like to develop, and we have our museum there as well.
So 40 years in manufacturing.
Yeah.
As a young man, what led you to the career in manufacturing back home?
What actually led me to that was that I was so addicted to electronics, software development, and I was a very, very early adopter, starting with the soldering circuit boards, etc., when I was young. And
so you were in your bedroom soldering
yes,
things?
Sort of, yes, definitely. I think I still have some circuit boards from that time home somewhere in my drawers, and so that led me in actually to Saab and the car business as well in the past. So then I was addicted to software development and robot control system, and was thinking that this is my passion. This is where I will stay throughout my career. But then I started to learn that there are other things that are interesting as well. So that led into other paths as well.
And then through those 39 years leading up till now, most of all of that was in Europe, right?
The vast majority, yes, I would say more or less 100% of that time. And so I started off in the software development, robot PLC systems, and was addicted to that. And then I took on product leader roles. I was leading bigger projects, and I was lost interest for the software development, and then I went into the paint shop at Saab actually, and then later on I was running the startup of the new paint shop, and I also got opportunity to at that point in time when General Motors also owned 50% of the company to get over here to San Francisco and learn from the Numi plant, which was a joint venture in between Toyota and General Motors back in '95, and that was something that very important and for me and on my learning journey as well.
Right.
And I spent quite some time to really start to understand organizational development, what is really lean. We talked about the Toyota, the Japanese wonder here in the West, and was thinking that it's about the culture in Japan, but that was not really right. As Toyota, they were capable and able to start up plants in England, in France, etc. Countries where we think in Europe they are having strong culture, and I was at least think that will be quite a journey for Toyota as well. But they were able to very swiftly get into that and also develop their own continuous improvement culture in these countries as well.
So you like
making
things work, making them work better, more efficiently.
Yeah, and work with the organization and really drive that thoroughly, I would say. Good fun.
It's good fun.
Building a culture where people feel that they are making a difference, they are relevant, and they are contributing to the success as well, being a part of something. For me, that is really a key for organizational development over time.
So when you're not having fun building these iconic Mack trucks, what does Gunnar like to do in his free time? I hear maybe you also like motorcycles along with trucks.
It's true, yes. I've been, I jumped on my first motorcycle when I was of the age of 9, I think. Yeah. So motorbikes has been with me for many, many years, and even though I haven't been, over the last 10 years, I haven't been owning any motorbike. Then,
you don't have one now?
So when I came here,
that's because you're married now, right?
That's probably not really. But then when I came here, I said that now I'm in US. I have to be a part of US as well. So
you get a Harley.
Harley Davidson.
You got a Harley.
Yes. Right. So in January I went into the dealership here in just north of Allentown and ordered and bought a Harley Davidson as well. And so that's important.
So you could see, if you're kind of watching the roadways from Center Valley out to Albertus, you might see Gunnar on his Harley driving out and then driving a Mack truck around.
Yes, as well. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it is wonderful to have you and your perspective, your experience here in the Lehigh Valley. and at Mack Trucks,
Thank
which
you.
is such a big part of our economy and our culture and our heritage. Great to have you as part of it. We could have talked for another half hour.
Yes.
I want to thank you for sitting
Easy.
down for the interview with new executives. And I know folks are going to be real anxious to meet you when we get back to a point in time when we can freely do that.
I hope really can do so as well. I'm really excited to meet other
Yeah.
people from other businesses as well.
Thank you, Gunnar.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Nestor, President and Chief Executive Officer at Lehigh Valley Health Network. At LVHN, we offer nationally recognized care close to home. Today and every day, our focus is on the health of our community. We know that a healthy community paves the way for a healthy economy. We're proud to partner with Lehigh Valley Economic Development Corporation as we work together to make the Lehigh Valley strong, vibrant, and safe.
At Capital Blue Cross, there are more yeses and fewer nos. Protecting your health and making it easier so you can spend time on what makes you smile. Helping our communities, your families, your businesses, big and small. We have you covered, going the extra mile. It's what we do. Capital Blue Cross, going the extra mile for you.
The new executive series would not be possible without the tremendous support of our sponsors. Thank you to all of our sponsors who have continuously supported the LVEDC mission during this time. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Lehigh Valley Health Network. Our premier sponsor, Capital Blue Cross. Gold sponsor, Fitzpatrick Lenson Buba. Our event sponsors, Boyle Construction, Clunk & Milan Advertising, and Olympus Corporation of the Americas. Thank you to our interview sponsor, Victaulic, our production sponsor, Countess Communications, and our hosts throughout the Lehigh Valley. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. We hope you enjoy the new executive series.